I guess it's appropriate you call it the stimulus or the relief situation because we do have a situation here. So the latest is, as expected, that effort to raise rather the stimulus checks to $2,000 that failed in the House. That's not surprising. So it's just completely unclear what's going to happen at this point. President Trump could still sign this bill. He raised objections to it, but he did not say that he was going to veto it. Or he could do nothing, in which case the bill would die and the government would run out of money on Monday. Congress could also pass some kind of short-term funding bill so the government can stay operating, but maybe the relief portion of this bill does not go anywhere. So we're ending 2020 in a state of chaos in Washington. What's surprising about that?
Rick, it's Julia. Let's also bring up the vetoing from President Trump yesterday on the defense spending bill and how all of this kind of ties together. What do you make of that?
So these are two separate issues, and the Trump's veto of the defense bill is actually more straightforward because Congress passed that separate from the funding and the stimulus or the relief money with enough of a margin to override a veto. Now, that doesn't mean Congress will override the veto, but that seems to be the most likely outcome at this point. So that bill probably will become law, and Congress could do that by next week. But I think the real story here is that Trump is just trying to jab Republicans because some of them are not supporting his effort to overturn the election and stay in office illegally. So he just threw him a complete curveball by asking for this extra money in the stimulus checks. And he's just making life really uncomfortable for Republicans in Congress right now, including those two senators from Georgia who are trying to get reelected on January 5th. Their job has gotten a little bit harder because now it looks like Republicans in Congress are standing in the way of this extra money in the stimulus check, which Democrats favor and President Trump favors. So I guess be glad you're not a congressional Republican right now.
I understand the pressure, Rick, but will the Trump base care?
That's the big question here, Adam. And I think the first measure of this is going to be what happens in those two Senate races. I've seen some analysis saying that this actually does make it a little more likely that Democrats could win those two races. If Democrats win both races, they will take control of the Senate. So this is hugely important. I think the Republicans are still favored to win, and they only need to win one seat. But they, I mean, they're in the position now of trying to explain: are they for or against the extra money? And if they're for it, why doesn't their party vote for it? Very confusing message they're sending to voters. Let's see what voters say on January 5th.
Rick Newman, our very own elf on the shelf. Thank you very much.